The rookie changed my renewal form to a resignation. My GF said it's a joke, but I left for real. After leading his struggling esports team from the bottom of the league to summer championship glory, Kai expects a well-deserved contract renewal. But instead of congratulations, he discovers a resignation request from his profile, submitted by none other than his girlfriend and coach, Lena. She calls it a joke, claiming it was part of a bet with the team's new rookie. To Kai, it's not a joke, it's betrayal. And this time he's not going to stay where he isn't resp. Now let's find out what happened. Next. The clock hit 0. The final explosion on the enemy base lit up the screens, and the announcer's voice shook the stadium. And that's it. The Phoenix Blades take the summer championship. Kai's headset slipped off his ears as his teammates erupted in cheers around him. Confetti cannons blasted gold and red paper into the air. The long, bitter season was finally over. And somehow they'd come out on top. Kai leaned back in his chair, his wrists throbbing under the tight kinesiology tape. Every flex sent a sting through his tendons. But it didn't matter. Not tonight. He had done it. They had done it. Lena, their coach, his girlfriend, was already walking onto the stage, headset still around her neck, a proud grin lighting up her face. When she reached him, she wrapped her arms around his shoulders. Cameras flashed. The crowd screamed their names. In that single moment, everything felt perfect. They had built this dream from scratch, just the two of them against the world. Later that night, in the dim glow of the after-party, Kai sat on the team balcony, staring at the championship medal in his hand. The medal was cool against his skin, heavy with meaning. Lena joined him, 2 glasses in hand. Lena, smiling, "We actually did it, huh?" Kai, grinning, "Told you I'd get us here. You just had to trust me." Lena, I trusted you. Mostly." They laughed. But her voice carried a faint distance, something almost detached. Kai noticed it, even through the haze of champagne and adrenaline. He brushed it off. Maybe she was just tired. They'd both been running on fumes for weeks. 2 days later, the team gathered in the conference room. The air buzzed with talk about bonuses, renewals, and the next season. Kai watched the rookies tease each other, the analysts argue over highlight clips, and Lena quietly texting someone at the corner of the room. He smiled to himself. Everything's finally falling into place. After 3 years of losses, harsh comments, and late-night scrims, they'd climbed from last place to the top of the league. He wasn't just another player anymore, he was the captain. The face of the team. And Lena, she was more than a coach. She was the woman who'd stood by him when no one else believed he was worth rebuilding. So when the team manager said, "Renewal offers will be uploaded to your accounts tonight," Kai felt a rush of relief. He could already imagine the email. "Congratulations, Kai. We're extending your contract another 3 years." He'd sign it instantly. Maybe even surprise Lena with a ring afterward. That night, he went home and opened his laptop. The team portal blinked to life. A sleek interface filled with the faces of his teammates and their renewed contracts, all marked active. He scrolled and scrolled. His name wasn't there. He refreshed. Logged out. Logged back in. Still nothing. A small unease began to coil in his chest. He tried not to panic. Maybe it was an admin delay. Maybe they were processing his bonus separately. He shot a quick message to Lena. "Hey, my renewal's not showing yet. Did something glitch?" No reply. He waited. 10 minutes. Then 30. Finally, she texted back. "Probably system lag. Don't stress it. I'll check tomorrow." He exhaled. "Okay. It's fine." He set the laptop aside and lay back on the couch, metal still hanging around his neck. But deep down, something didn't feel right. The confetti, the lights, the cheers, suddenly they felt like echoes of a victory that wasn't really his anymore. He didn't know it yet, but that missing renewal form was the first crack in everything he'd built. The beginning of the betrayal that would change his life forever. Kai sat at his desk the next morning, coffee gone cold beside him, scrolling through the team portal again. His name still wasn't there. The others had already signed their renewals. Mark, Gene, even Mickey, the new rookie who barely joined 2 months ago. But his slot remained empty, grayed out like a ghost. He rubbed his temple, trying to ignore the unease tightening in his chest. Maybe Lena had just forgotten to submit it. She'd been buried in post-season reports and sponsor calls. She wouldn't forget something like that, right? Not his renewal. He clicked the Contracts tab again. And that's when he saw it. A new document attached to his profile. Withdrawal, player termination request processed. Kai blinked. His heartbeat stumbled. He opened it. There it was. His player ID. His signature. All filled out, time-stamped. Proved. Processed by Lena Han, coach. The room seemed to shrink around him. He stared at the screen, his pulse drumming in his ears. Withdrawal request? He hadn't submitted anything. He hadn't even opened this form before. He called the HR desk immediately. The woman on the other end answered with her usual cheerful tone, but her voice faltered when she heard his name. Kai. Hey, this is Kai from the Blades roster. There's been a mistake with my renewal form. HR. Oh, right. You mean your resignation? Kai, confused. My what? HR. Yes, the system shows you requested a withdrawal from the active player roster last week. It's already processed, but if you want to reapply next season, the portal? Kai, interrupting. Stop. I didn't submit anything. Who did? HR. Let me check. It says submitted by Coach Han. She signed off on your behalf. The line went silent. Kai sat frozen in his chair. His own girlfriend had filed his resignation. Without his knowledge. Without even telling him. His fingers trembled around the phone. Kai, quietly, are you sure it wasn't some kind of system error? HR, it looks intentional. There's a note in the comments section that says, trial player retiring post-championship. Trial player. After everything he'd done for the team. After carrying them from the bottom of the league, playing through wrist injuries, sleepless scrims, and months of self-doubt. He was listed as a temporary player. His throat burned. HR, hesitant. Mr. Kai, are you okay? Kai, hoarse. Yeah, I'm fine. He hung up. His hands weren't fine. They were shaking. He grabbed his jacket and stormed out of his apartment. Rain was already pouring outside, but he didn't care. Every step toward the team's office felt heavier, angrier. The glass doors slid open to reveal the same space that had once been his second home. The place he'd poured his entire soul into. The trophy from the summer championship gleamed on the front desk, still shining under the display lights. He almost laughed. The team he had carried to victory had just erased him like he never existed. Inside the hallway he could hear laughter, Lena's voice, light and teasing, mixed with another's. Mickey. The rookie she had fought tooth and nail to recruit, even when everyone warned she was taking too big a risk. Kai stopped in front of her office door, his breath ragged. He knocked once. No answer. Then he pushed it open. Lena looked up, surprised for half a second, then smiled as if nothing was wrong. Lena? Kai? What's with the storm face? Kai, slamming the paper on her desk. What is this? Mickey leaned back in his chair, smirking. Lena scanned the document, then she laughed. Lena, oh come on. You're not actually mad about that, are you? Her tone was light, casual, like this was some stupid prank gone wrong. But Kai didn't laugh. Kai, you submitted my resignation. In the system. Signed it yourself. Lena, shrugging, it's a joke, Kai. Mickey and I made a bet on whether you'd even notice before the deadline. Looks like I won. For a moment, Kai couldn't even process her words. A joke? She had erased his career, for a bet? Kai, voice trembling, a bet, between you and him? Lena, relax. It's not like you can't undo it. It's one click. You're so dramatic sometimes. Mickey chuckled from behind her desk. Kai turned his gaze toward him. For the first time he noticed the way the rookie looked at her, familiar, too familiar. Kai, you two think it's funny to mess with my life? Lena, irritated, don't make this a scene, Kai. You're overreacting. It was just supposed to be lighthearted. Something inside him snapped. Kai, lighthearted? Lena, I played through torn ligaments for this team. I've given everything to it, to you. And you treat it like a game? The office fell silent. Even Mickey stopped grinning. Rain battered the windows, filling the pause. Lena sighed and turned away. Lena, you're exhausted. Go cool off. We'll fix it tomorrow. But Kai didn't move. He looked at her one last time, the woman who used to believe in him, and realized that somewhere along the line she'd stopped seeing him as a partner. Now he was just another player on her roster. Disposable. Without another word, he turned and walked out, the sound of rain swallowing his footsteps. That night, as the storm raged outside, Kai sat alone in his dark apartment. His championship medal hung on the wall, but for the first time, it looked meaningless. He whispered to himself, a joke, huh? Then his jaw clenched. Fine. I'll make it real. Kai stood outside Lena's office, drenched from the storm. His jacket clung to him, rain dripping from his hair. He could hear their voices from inside, light, playful, like nothing in the world was wrong. Lena's laughter cut through the silence of the hallway, followed by the rookie's, Mickey's, younger, cocky tone. Kai tightened his fist around the printed resignation form. His pulse hammered like a drum in his ears. He pushed the door open without knocking. Team office, evening. The room fell silent. Mickey froze mid-sentence. Lena looked up from her tablet, startled at first, then relaxed as if nothing unusual had happened. Lena, smiling faintly, Kai? You look like you just ran through a typhoon. Kai, voice low, what's this? He slapped the printed form on her desk, droplets of water splattering across her keyboard. The words, resignation approved, glared up in bold. Lena blinked, then chuckled softly, as if he'd just walked in on a prank gone too far. Lena, all that? Come on, you're not actually mad about that, are you? Mickey tried to stifle a grin, his arms folded across his chest. Kai's eyes flicked toward him, and then back to her. Kai, you submitted my resignation. You signed it. You, of all people. Lena, rolling her eyes, relaxed. Kai. Was a joke. Mickey and I had a bet, whether you'd notice before the deadline. I won. For a moment Kai didn't move. Didn't speak. He just stared at her. Then he laughed, a low, bitter sound. Kai, a bet. Lena, you're taking this too seriously. It's not like you can't cancel it yourself. One click and you're back. What's the big deal? Kai's jaw clenched. The rain outside grew louder, battering against the windows like it was echoing his heartbeat. Kai, quietly, you made my entire career a joke. Lena, defensive, don't twist my words. It wasn't that deep. Kai, not that deep? You knew how hard I fought for this renewal. How many nights I spent fixing my plays, reworking my reflexes, pushing through pain. Lena, cutting him off, and you won, didn't you? We took the championship. Why ruin that moment with drama? Her voice rose, sharp, impatient. But the more she spoke, the colder Kai's stare became. Kai, do you even hear yourself, Lena? You weren't just my coach. You were my partner. Lena, and I still am. But you're making a scene over something small. She reached for his arm, but he stepped back. The distance between them suddenly felt enormous. Mickey shifted awkwardly in his seat, glancing between them. Mickey, half joking, coach, maybe we should just tell him. Kai, snapping, stay out of this. The rookie froze. Lena frowned, irritation flaring in her eyes. Lena, you don't talk to him like that. Kai, funny. I thought I was still the team captain. Lena, coldly, were. The word hit him like a slap. Kai took a step closer, his voice trembling but steady. Kai, when we were at the bottom of the league, who kept us together? Who stayed up every night analyzing replays? Me. When everyone said you couldn't coach a championship team, who stood beside you? Me. Lena's expression faltered, but only for a second. Kai, quieter, you knew about my risks. You knew I was one game away from collapsing. And I still played. For this team. For you. He paused. The silence between them stretched painfully long. Kai, and after all that, you let him mess with my contract. You turned it into a game. Lena exhaled slowly, leaning back in her chair, arms crossed. Lena, it wasn't like that. Kai, then how was it? She didn't answer. The room filled with the sound of rain again. It was deafening. Finally Kai spoke, his voice soft but breaking. Kai, you know what hurts the most? Not that you filed it, but that you laughed. Her eyes widened slightly, guilt flickering for the first time. But before she could speak, Kai turned toward the door. Lena, calling out, Kai, where are you going? Kai, without turning back, to make your joke real. The door slammed behind him. The sound echoed through the corridor. Hallway, night. Kai walked past the championship trophy gleaming under the hallway lights. He paused for a second, staring at his own engraved name, Kai Min, team captain. His reflection stared back at him, tired eyes, damp hair, and disappointment carved deep into his expression. He whispered under his breath, Captain, huh? Not anymore. And then he kept walking. Back in the office, Lena stood frozen, her hands still hovering over the resignation paper. Mickey glanced at her uneasily. Mickey, you think he'll calm down? Lena, quietly, he's not coming back. The rain kept falling, relentless and cold, washing away the last traces of laughter that once filled that room. Kai sat alone in the empty esports arena. The lights were off, except for the faint glow from the championship banner hanging above the stage. Phoenix Blades, Summer Champions. Just a few weeks ago this place had been filled with cheers, flashing lights, and his teammates hoisting the trophy high. Now it was silent. Almost hollow. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, his wrists wrapped tight in kinesiology tape that was peeling at the edges. The skin beneath was red, bruised, a map of everything he'd fought through. He flexed his fingers. Pain shot up his arm. He winced but didn't stop. Kai, murmuring, "You said it would be worth it, Lena?" His voice cracked in the empty air. He looked up at the big screen, a still image of their victory moment frozen in time. Him standing beside Lena, her smile radiant under the stage lights. That same smile that had once made him believe he could conquer the world. Now it just looked fake. Flashback audio begins, muffled, echoing like a memory. "Lena, in the past, don't give up, Kai. You're better than they say you are. Kai, then help me prove it. Lena, we will. Together." Back to present, silence. Kai exhaled shakily. He remembered those nights, the ones where his wrists hurt so badly he couldn't even hold a spoon, yet she'd stay up, wrapping them, whispering, "One more season, just one more." He remembered believing her. And now all that trust, all that loyalty, had been turned into a bet. He looked down at the resignation form still folded in his jacket pocket, crumpled, water-stained from the rain. It wasn't just a document anymore. It was a symbol of everything he'd lost. He pulled out his phone, opening the team's online portal one last time. The login screen flickered to life. His cursor hovered over his name, Kai Min, Captain, pending status. He hesitated. His heart screamed at him to fight, to stay, to prove his worth, to make her regret it. But his pride whispered something else. Pride in his thoughts, "You've given everything." And they laughed. Kai clenched his jaw, then slowly began typing. Each click of the keyboard echoed like a nail in a coffin. Reason for resignation, personal decision. No further comment. He read it once, then twice. His fingers hovered over the final button, submit. For a long moment he just stared at it, his vision blurring with tears he didn't realize were falling. "Kai, softly, you made it a joke, Lena? Now I'll make it real." He pressed submit. A pop-up appeared. Resignation request processed successfully. And just like that, his time with the Phoenix Blades, his dream, his sweat, his pride, was over. He leaned back in his chair, staring up at the empty stage. The spotlights were off now, but he could still see where he once stood, shouting, crying, celebrating victory. He could almost hear the crowd chanting his name. But the sound faded as quickly as it came. Kai, thinking, maybe victory isn't about staying on top. Maybe it's about walking away before you're dragged through the mud. He unwrapped the tape around his wrists slowly, strip by strip. Each piece peeled away like a memory being shed. When the last band came off, he stared at the raw skin underneath. It was ugly, worn, scarred, but free. Outside, dawn was breaking. The city lights dimmed as the sun's first rays crept through the arena's high windows. Kai picked up his bag, slung it over his shoulder, and took one last look at the championship banner. His reflection in the trophy glass caught his eye, tired, yes, but lighter somehow. Kai, whispering, "Thank you, for letting me go." He turned and walked out, the sound of his footsteps echoing through the empty hall like the final heartbeat of a dream. Behind him, the stage lights flickered, as if saying goodbye. Morning light spills through the team's office windows. The energy that once filled the Phoenix Blades headquarters has dulled to a faint echo. It had been a week since Kai left. No one had seen him since that night. No messages, no calls, no trace on social media. But his absence was everywhere. His empty chair in the team room. The unclaimed jersey hanging on the rack. The way the analysts hesitated when mentioning his name. For a team that had just won the championship, the air was unnervingly heavy. Lena sat in her office trying to focus on the next season's reports. Numbers, stats, new roster potentials, everything blurred together. Every few minutes, her eyes would drift to the photo frame on her desk, a shot of her and Kai on stage after the win. Her hand hovered over it more than once. But she never turned it face down. She didn't know if it was guilt or stubbornness that kept it there. The door creaks open. Mickey steps in holding a cup of coffee. "Mickey, Coach thought you'd need this. Long morning?" Lena, flatly, "Thanks. Leave it there." He set the cup down, watching her. She looked exhausted, eyes rimmed red from too little sleep, hair tied messily back, the shine of the confident coach replaced by a quiet edge of uncertainty. "Mickey," tentatively, "you're still thinking about him, huh?" "Lena, about who?" Mickey, shrugging, "Come on, you know who I mean. The guys all over the forums. Fans are going crazy trying to figure out where he went." Lena didn't respond. She just stared at her monitor, scrolling through tournament replays, the sound of crowd cheers filling the silence. Kai's voice echoed faintly from one of the clips. His calm, steady command during a match. Rotate left. Focus mid. We win this together. Her hand trembled slightly on the mouse. She paused the video. Lena, quietly, he was supposed to calm down. I thought he'd come back the next day. Mickey shifted, uncertain how to respond. Mickey, he's prideful. You know that. I didn't think he'd actually resign for real. Lena, sharply, yeah well neither did I. The words came out harsher than she intended. Mickey flinched, then forced a small smirk. Mickey, guess the joke wasn't that funny after all. Lena shot him a cold glare. Lena, it wasn't a joke, Mickey. Not anymore. Later that afternoon, team meeting room. The rest of the players gathered around the conference table, their chatter uneasy. Without Kai, the team felt incomplete, like a body missing its heartbeat. Mickey sat in Kai's old seat at the end of the table. He looked comfortable. Too comfortable. The manager announced the new season lineup. Mickey promoted to starting position. The room clapped half-heartedly. Lena didn't join in. Manager, we'll do well this season. Mickey's got talent. With Lena's leadership, we'll keep the momentum from the championship. Player 1, muttering, not the same without Kai though. Player 2, yeah. The fans are already saying we threw him out. The words lingered in the air like smoke. Lena kept her eyes fixed on the table, jaw tight. When the meeting ended, she stayed behind, staring at the empty space where Kai used to sit, his name still engraved on the chair's plaque. Lena, to herself, you said this chair was lucky. Guess you took the luck with you. Practice room. Mickey is warming up, talking with an assistant coach. He glances through the glass wall, watching Lena pacing her office. He smirks faintly, but there's a flicker of unease in his eyes too. Mickey, quietly, guess even champions can break. The assistant coach doesn't respond. The tension between them all is palpable, the weight of Kai's departure haunting every corner of the team. That night, Lena stayed long after everyone had gone. The office lights hummed softly. The rain started again, not as hard as before but steady, tapping against the windows in a slow rhythm. She opened her email drafts folder. At the top was one she typed days ago but never sent. Subject, I'm sorry. To Kai Min. She clicked it open. The message inside was empty, no words, just a blinking cursor waiting for courage. She typed slowly. It wasn't supposed to end like this. I just wanted to see if you'd still care enough to notice. But maybe you were right to leave. She stared at the words for a long time. Then, she deleted them all. Lena, whispering, you wouldn't believe me anyway. She closed the laptop, stood and turned toward the trophy on the shelf, their summer championship. It glimmered faintly in the low light, reflecting both pride and regret. Her reflection looked back at her, hollow-eyed, tired. Lena, softly, you won, Kai. And somehow, I lost. Kai stood by the edge of the pier, hoodie up, hands tucked in his pockets. For the first time in years he wasn't carrying a gaming mouse or a team jacket, just himself. The sea breeze stung his face but it felt good. Real. No cameras. No crowds chanting his name. No Lena watching him from the sidelines with that mix of pride and calculation. Just silence, and the faint ache in his wrists, a reminder of how much he'd given. He'd rented a small apartment near the coast, barely big enough for a single desk and bed. There was an old PC set up in the corner, dusty and half-broken, but it worked. Some nights he'd log in to play solo matches. No pressure, no sponsors, no trophies to chase. Just the rhythm of the game he once loved before it became a job. For the first time in a long while he breathed. The local players didn't recognize him. To them he was just another quiet guy with good aim and faster reflexes than anyone around. They started calling him Zero, because his account name was ZeroKai. It became a bit of a local legend. The mysterious player who showed up at midnight, wiped everyone out in ranked games, then disappeared before dawn. Teenager, yo, that guy's insane. Who is he? Owner? Nobody knows. He just plays, wins and leaves. Kai would smirk faintly whenever he overheard them. He didn't correct them. Didn't need to. The anonymity was his peace, and his punishment. At first he thought the anger would fade. But it didn't. Every time he wrapped his wrist the memory came back. Lena's laugh. Mickey's smirk. That cursed word, joke. So he played. Not for fame. Not for her. But to remind himself that his talent, his fight, his journey, was his alone. Evening. Rain starts again, soft, rhythmic. Kai sat by the window watching droplets slide down the glass. The sea shimmered dark under the streetlights. He scrolled through his messages. A few from old teammates, some from sponsors, but none from her. He didn't know what he wanted more, for her to apologize or to stay silent forever. Flashback montage, intercut with present. Kai at the championship stage, his hand raised, Lena smiling beside him. Kai in the locker room whispering, "We did it." Lena's voice, "It's just a joke, Kai. You can cancel it." Kai walking out under the rain, eyes hollow but steady. Back to present. Kai closes his eyes, exhales deeply. Kai quietly, "You taught me how to win, Lena. But you also taught me how to walk away." The next morning the cafe owner approached him. "Owner, hey kid. You're wasted here. A few of the local teams are looking for players. Want me to tell them about you?" Kai smiling faintly, "No need. I'm not looking for a team." "Owner, then what are you looking for?" Kai paused, his eyes drifting to the monitor, his reflection faintly visible in the dark screen. Kai, a reason to play again. Weeks pass, montage sequence. Kai training solo at night. Fixing his aim, strengthening his wrists, running at dawn. Studying strategies from world tournaments. Ignoring calls from reporters who finally traced ZeroKai back to him. Word started spreading in the underground gaming circuit. The mysterious player ZeroKai was dominating international scrims, climbing leaderboards at a ridiculous pace. Teams wanted him. Sponsors wanted him. But Kai didn't answer anyone. Until one day, a message popped up on his screen. From Nova Esports Organization. "We've seen your plays. If you're ready to start again, we're ready to build around you." He stared at the message for a long while. Then he typed back 2 words. "I'm ready." The faint sound of crowd cheers in the background, echoes of what's coming. Sometimes losing everything isn't the end. It's the beginning of who you were always meant to be. The World Esports Grand Championship, the final stage, broadcast across continents. At one end of the stage sits Phoenix Blades, led by Coach Lena. At the other, the new challenger team, Nova Esports. Their captain, a masked player known only as Zero. No one outside the circuit had seen his face. But when he took off his headset and lifted his chin slightly, Lena froze. The world kept cheering, but her heartbeat stopped. Because under the arena lights it was him. Flashback cuts through her mind like lightning. His voice, calm and steady during matches. His anger the night he found out about the resignation. The rain. The slammed door. His silence ever since. Now here he was, back, sharper, colder, unreadable. Not the man who once stood beside her. A rival. The commentators' voices crackled through the air. Caster 1, and there's the captain of Nova, Zero, the player who's taken the scene by storm. Caster 2, some say he's the legendary Kai Min under a new banner. If true, this is the comeback of the decade. Lena clenched her fists. Mickey shifted uneasily beside her. Mickey, low, he really came back. Lena, curt, focus on the match. But her eyes betrayed her, flicking to Kai across the stage just once too long. He didn't look back. Not once. Match start, round 1. Phoenix versus Nova. The crowd holds its breath as the countdown hits 0. From the first minute it's clear, this isn't the same Kai they once knew. His movements are cleaner, faster. Every call he makes cuts through chaos like a blade. Kai firm over comms, rotate mid-collapse left. "Trust my call, we end this now." Nova follows with perfect synchronization. Their timing flawless, their execution ruthless. Round 1 ends in under 10 minutes. Nova wins. The arena explodes with cheers. Lena sits frozen, unable to look away from the screen. Caster, unbelievable precision from Nova's captain. Phoenix didn't stand a chance in that round. Round 2 begins. Lena adjusts her headset, barking strategies, trying to steady her team. But the momentum is gone. Every play Phoenix makes, Kai anticipates it, counters it, dismantles it. He knows their rhythm, their weak points. After all, he helped build it. Mickey slams his desk after a failed team fight. "Mickey, he's reading every move before we make it." Lena, gritting teeth, "Because he taught you how to move." The realization hits her mid-sentence. He wasn't just playing against them. He was showing her what she'd thrown away. Round 3, match point. The tension is suffocating. Lena removes her headset for a second, wiping her trembling hands. Across the stage, Kai sits perfectly calm, focused, breathing evenly, eyes like steel. The crowd chants his name now, over and over. 0, 0, 0. Phoenix fights back hard, desperate to recover. For a few glorious moments, it looks like they might win a round. But then, Kai overcomes now. He makes a split-second play, baiting Mickey into overextending, turning the entire fight around in 2 moves. Phoenix's base falls. The match is over. Nova Esports wins 3-0. The stadium erupts. Lights, confetti, deafening cheers. Kai stands slowly, removing his headset. He doesn't raise his hands. He doesn't smile. He simply looks across the stage, to her. Lena's expression is unreadable, a mixture of awe, regret, and heartbreak. Mickey sits slumped in his chair, silent. The camera zooms in, the world watching as former lovers and partners face each other, not as coach and player, but as equals divided by choice. Kai walks toward her. The crowd quiets slightly, sensing something about to happen. He stops in front of her, just a few feet away. Lena, horse, you really came back. Kai, calmly, I never left. You just stopped looking. Her lips part, but no words come. The lights flicker off the trophy beside them, his reflection shining on its golden surface. Lena, softly, I didn't mean for it to end like that, Kai. Kai, maybe not. But you made sure it did. He starts to walk past her but pauses. Kai, quietly, without turning. You were right that I could cancel it myself. But maybe that's the point, I needed to. Then he leaves the stage. No anger, no bitterness. Just closure. Later, backstage hallway. Kai walks out to the empty corridor, pulling his hood over his head. Outside, the rain has started again, soft, familiar, like the night he left. He takes one long look at the arena behind him. Then he smiles. Kai, to himself. That's enough looking back. He disappears into the rain. Not running from the past but walking toward something new. Nova celebrating in their locker room, Kai quietly watching, content. News headlines, ZeroKai leads Nova to historic victory. Lena alone in her office watching the broadcast replay, whispering, You really did become more than I ever believed. Kai standing by the pier again, dawn breaking over the sea. Some stories end with revenge. His ended with redemption. Because sometimes walking away isn't losing. It's choosing yourself.